Hi guys, how are you? Have you had a good week so far? What have you guys been up to? Yes, so I see a lot of familiar names. Hi Joseph, hi Liang Hong. Let me see. Hi Saifu, hi Ishu. Yes, so please feel free to say hi to us in the chat box right now. Yep. So once again, I would like to welcome all of you back to our weekly webinar, and of course to all of you who are joining us for the first time, a very warm welcome to you. And on that note, let's find out how many newcomers we have with us today. So you'll see the poll right in front of you right now. So is this the first time you're joining us, or you have attended many of our webinars before? I think, like I'm not sure whether you'll be surprised. I was quite surprised when I saw this number. Apparently today is our 30th English webinar. Oh my goodness, like, I can't imagine that we have actually done so many webinars, but apparently we have. Okay, so let's see, how many newbies do we have with us today? And of course, if you have joined a lot of our webinars, like, do let us know as well. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a bit more time to vote before I end the poll. So about 65% of you have voted right now. Those of you who have not, do not be shy, because this is really how we run our webinars. It's very interactive, it's very engaging, and there's a lot of action. So not just me talking, or like our speaker for tonight talking, but we really would like to hear from you as well. Okay, awesome. So today, quite a good, I would say, a mix of people that we have in the room. So we have about 20% who are newbies, okay, and then we have 27% who have attended one or two, so still fairly newbie, okay, and then another 25% who have attended up to 5 of our webinars, and another 10% who say, I'm definitely a fan, I've joined more than 5 of your webinars, and 16%, wow, that's amazing, who have said, I've lost count, but I've joined more than 10 of your webinars. So for those of you who are our diehard fans, like, we really want to thank you for your support all this while. Okay, so I see quite a lot of you who are saying hi. So let me just look at everybody who have said hi so far. Hi Unita, hi Has, hi Lil, hi Miss Yo, hi Gladys, hi White Kid, hi Evelyn. We have William, we have Wai Long, we have Purple, Brandon, Samuel, Hajono, Anus, Cubert, um, Kush, Siri. Awesome. So thank you guys for joining us. So I think those of you who might be new to joining a webinar, so basically we would not be able to hear you or see you. So you don't need to worry like, okay, like, is my video on, or, do I need to mute my mic and things like that. So how we'll be interacting with you would be through the chat box, like what a lot of you have been doing. And we'll also be using the Q&A box as well. So if you have questions for either like me or for like our speaker for tonight, whom I'll be introducing very shortly, just feel free to put it into the Q&A box, and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can tonight. Okay, so let's get started very soon. But of course, before we get started, I'd just like to do a quick introduction of myself as well as the company as well. So I know a lot of you are like have been joining us for many times. So I'm sorry if you have heard this introduction many times. But at the same time, because we have quite a lot of newbies who are joining us, I'll just do a quick introduction. So my name, as you can see in Zoom, is Violet. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Lunch Actually, or sometimes also known as Chief Cupid. So I'm of course an entrepreneur, started the business about 16 years ago with my then boyfriend, now husband. Other than being a certified matchmaker, I also enjoy public speaking, and I've also written a book called Lessons from 15,000 First Dates. So if there's something you might be interested in, you can search it up. And I'm also, of course, a wife and a mother. So I have 2 kids who are 14 and 11, and we would like to follow me or find out a bit more about what I do, or ask me any questions, outside of our webinars. You can follow me on Instagram at Violet Lim, and you can follow me on Facebook at Asia Love Guru. So very quickly about the company, we have been around for 16 years now. So we are in 5 different locations. So I believe that we should have all our different members from different locations who are joining us for tonight. So, as I continue giving my introduction, please feel free to shout out wherever you are from. Let us know the weather at where you are as well, because like Singapore has been raining and raining and raining and raining for the past couple of days. It's been crazy. So, like, let us know where you're from. Are you from Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Thailand? And let us know how has the weather been in where you are. Is it like raining cats and dogs like here in Singapore as well? Or like, it has been really shiny, sunny? Let us know. Okay, so we have of course, like a lot of different dating products as well. So, other than matchmaking, we also offer coaching. And that's why, our speaker for tonight, she's actually one of our senior dating coach. So I'm very, very excited to have her with us tonight. And I just want to let you know very quickly also about our philosophy, like, so we do not believe that it's really just about meeting the right one, because a lot of singles, if you ask them why they're single, chances are they always say, I've not met the right one. But what we have realized is that meeting is just one part of it. More importantly, it's very important to be the right one as well as choose the right one. And that's also the reason why we have done so many webinars, like what I mentioned just now, like more than 30 webinars, my goodness. Because the reason behind it is we really want to pay it forward. We want to like help to, provide more information, more education for our singles, for the public to, I would say, level up, in terms of be it dating skills, or like even be the best version of yourself. So other than matchmaking, we have coaching, and we also have launched our app as well. So you can check it out. You can download it from either the Google Play as well as the Apple App Store. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our speaker, very, very special speaker tonight. So some of you might have met her. So, like if you are based in Singapore, then, potentially you will have met her. So I'd like to welcome our very gorgeous, very amazing, very wonderful senior date coach, Angela.
Hi, thank you, Violet. How are you doing? So thanks for having me back. So I'm Angela. I have been a senior date coach in Lunch actually for the past 6 years. So my role is basically to analyze where and what are the dating obstacles each single is facing and help them to overcome them. So I'm happy to say that I have brought together over 40 couples.
Nice. Thank you so much, Angela. And then we have Billy to say, welcome the best smile of all, Angela. I agree, like the first time I met Angela, I was
Thank
also very
you.
captivated by her smile. Okay, so we have a white kid who say that it's raining cats and dogs, but not raining men or women. Okay. Okay, good one, white kid. Okay, we have Raj who say that I just came back from Royal Caribbean cruise to nowhere this morning. Oh, nice. Lovely weather out there in the sea. Really nice. Gladys says the rain has stopped already. And say, yes, Singapore has been raining non-stop. Anas, who's from Malaysia. We have, then Has say Malaysia is very wet too. Yes, okay, so I guess it seems that in our region, like it's just very wet. Okay, so very quickly, like I would like to launch into our topic for tonight. So tonight is very, very interesting. I love the topic that our team has come up with, which is 50 first dates. So tonight the objective is really want to be sharing with you useful insights on how to deal with various personalities on a first date that would save you from awkward moments, because obviously it's like all the people that you meet will be different. They have different personalities, like they have different characteristics. So we have kind of identified like 8 different ones that we want to share with you tonight, and we want to give you some tips and advice on what to do when you meet some of these different personalities. Okay, so before we go into that, because like I say, our topic for tonight is 50 first dates, would like to know how many of you have actually seen the movie 50 first dates. Yeah, so you should see the poll right in front of you right now. So let us know, have you actually watched this movie 50 first dates? I know some of you might be a lot younger, so maybe you might not have seen this movie, but I think it's super awesome. I really like it. This movie actually happened 16 years ago as well. So it's as old as Lunch actually. Okay, so the gist of the movie is so wow, interesting. So actually quite a lot of you have not actually watched this movie. We have about 31% who say that you have, and we actually have 69% who have said you have not. Wow, interesting. So, okay, those of you, for the benefit of those of you who have not watched this movie, right? I'll just tell you a bit more about it. So, the gist of the movie, as you can see, in front of you on the screen, is we have Adam Sandler. So, Adam Sandler's character falls in love with Drew Barrymore's character, and she likes him as well. So they went on a great first date, but the very next day, he found out that she doesn't remember him because she actually has short-term memory. So to continue a relationship with her, he actually has to impress her over and over and over again every single day. Okay, so maybe some of you are remembering the movie plot right now. Okay, so what has it got to do with our topic for tonight? So of course, like it's probably unlikely that you will experience having to go on 50 first dates with the same person because the person cannot remember you. However, I believe that many of us have gone on multiple dates, or maybe many of us will be going on multiple dates with different types of personalities. So do you agree? If you agree, please say yes in the chat right now. Okay, so we have Ridwan who say, does this mean we have to go for 50 dates with different people? No, 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 no. That's not what we are trying to say. Okay, so we have a lot of you who say yes. I'll just pick up a few because there's so many. Jesney, Janet, Adelina, Asu, Brandon, Sophie. Yes, so I think, like those of you who have been through, I would say, the whole process of maybe using dating apps or even dating service, yes, you definitely would have gone on quite a number of dates, right? And obviously, everybody is different, so there would be different personalities. So Angela and I will be discussing a few common types of personalities and of course how to deal with them on the first date. And of course, we'll also be sharing some practical tips on making the date remarkable so that you have a higher chance of scoring a second date. So who is interested and excited to get started? Let us know. Okay. Yeah. Kush say me, and then I say yes. Okay, awesome. So like I can see a lot of very excited people. Answer, yeah, can't wait. Okay, so we shall not, tease you any further. We are going to review, like what the 8 personalities are. Yes, so May is going to help us by sharing with us the screen. Yes, you can see these are the 8 personalities that we have identified. Okay, so what do you guys think? Anything that really jump out at you? Okay, so you can see like there's really quite a number of interesting personalities there. Okay, so what do you think? Okay, so I'm going to ask you to select the personality that you have actually met before. Okay, so I'm going to launch the poll right now. So maybe you can share with us which personality have you met before. Okay, so I know a lot of you might say I have met all and things like that, right? So you have to only choose one because unfortunately, right, the polling mechanism in Zoom only allow us to choose one. So just choose the one that really stood out, and you really do not like this personality. Okay, so let us know. Okay, so I think maybe it's a bit shouldn't be just negative Nancy lah. Okay, so it could be negative Nick as well. Okay, for guys. Okay, so have you met any of this personality? And if you have, which one really stood out and which is the one that you dislike the most? Okay, so we have a lot of people who's on the fence because just now, right, we got about 70% of you guys who voted. Currently, we are only at 56%. Okay, now 58%. Okay, guys, don't be on the fence. Just whichever one that really jump out at you, the one that you're like, oh yeah, I definitely have met that personality, and yeah, that's the one that I really dislike. Okay, so now we are at about 63%. Okay, can we bring that a bit higher? Can we have 70% of the room to vote? And I think that would be very interesting for Angela and I to find out a bit more about, like the personality that you guys already have been meeting a lot. Okay, so we are now really close to 70%. We are at about 67%. Okay, so I'm going to share the results with you guys now. Okay, so maybe before I share it, right, you want to guess which is the one that got the highest one. Okay, come. Which is the one that that you think might have gotten the highest one? Okay, interesting. That's one that really got the highest, like there are a few that's very close to each other, and then but that's one that is really overwhelmingly higher than the rest. Okay, let me see. Okay, so YW say 1, Billy say 8, Ishu say 1, Nat say 8, Ken say 4, Asu say 2, Anna say 8, Siri say interviewer and narcissist. Okay, so that is interviewer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and narcissist is 2, and then Ha say 3. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to let you know. Actually, the one that got the highest votes from you guys in the room is actually ding 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 8. Yeah, 27% of you guys say that the personality that you have met on a date that stood out and you really dislike is the I'm not really looking for anything serious. Interesting. Okay. And this is followed by the interviewer, which is at 18%. And then narcissists a very close third at 17%. Okay. And the next after that is negative Nancy or negative Nick at 15%. Very interesting. Okay, so Billy brought up a very interesting point. Billy said most people I met are telling me that they are not looking into any relationship, only to realize that they are just merely not attracted to me. Okay, thanks Billy for sharing very candidly about that. So not to worry, Angela and I will be going into all the 8 different personalities, and then I will be sharing with you who they are and how to deal with them if you meet them on the first date. Okay, so we are going to get started right away. So Angela, you want to start the ball rolling by sharing with us about negative Nancy or negative Nick?
Yes, thank you, Violet. So for negative Nancy, negative Nick, usually they always complain about their work, their life, and even service staff at the restaurants. So you find yourself like feeling very drained just by listening to them talk. So negative people usually don't know that they are being negative. They think they are just like being friendly, being open by sharing their personal lives with you in order to build common ground with you. So when you meet this type of people, what you can do, you can divert them to a positive question and try to lead the conversation from there. For example, if they are complaining about work, you can jokingly say, "Oh, wow, sounds like you really don't like your job. Is there anything you like about your job?" Or you can also say, wow, good thing your boss is not sitting at the next table. Imagine if they hear what you say now. Of course, with a smile. Okay, so if it is about life in general, for example, how unhappy their life is, you can say something like, your life sounds quite stressful. So what do you do for fun? If they are complaining about the service staff at the restaurant, you can say, they look quite understaffed. Let's finish this up and go somewhere else for dessert or for a walk.
Thank you, Angela, for the
You're
quick,
welcome.
the great tips. And Gordon say, haha, at the point you say, good thing your boss is not sitting at the next table.
Yeah.
Imagine if they hurt you. Yeah. So I think, definitely in the societies that we are in, like the communities that we are in, I think a lot of us lead very fast paced and even sometimes stressful lives. So I think it's important to keep this in check, like because I think sometimes we might also see some of these characteristics in us as well. So sometimes we ourselves could be negative Nick or negative Nancy. So like I think just hearing from Angela, who have given us some great tips, it's important to realize that yes, like when we come across as very negative, that would actually give a very bad impression to the other person. And so maybe we just want to keep that in check. So I always tell like our singers that if you have a very bad day, you need to complain to someone, like please don't use your date as that, like go call your sister, your best friend, or even your mother. Like a first date is really not a place to really offload your problems and your troubles. Okay, so next we have the narcissist. Okay, so I think some of you have said that you think, like this is definitely the type of person that you find the most off-putting. Okay, so the narcissist is someone that talks about themselves all the time, and like maybe when you are talking about a certain topic, and then they will always find the opportunity to relate it back to themselves, or they like maybe constantly just keep injecting themselves into like whatever you're trying to share, and they are always bragging about their achievements as well. So I think I totally understand understand it can be very annoying and off-putting, especially, you might be in the midst of sharing something very exciting, you're very passionate about sharing about it. However, narcissistic people, right, we need to realize that they actually have a deep desire to be liked. So sometimes, like they would, do all of these things. It's not because of anything else, but they are really looking to get the admiration or adoration from people. And in this case, from you, which is their date. So I think it's good to realize that, maybe their intention is not bad, but it's just that this is something that they constantly need to, have that feeling that, oh, I'm being well liked, people really like me. So another thing to note is that they might appear to be very confident, but most of the time, a lot of them actually suffer from low self-esteem. Yeah, interesting, right? Because if you look at someone who is narcissistic, they're always bragging about their achievement all the time, but actually they, a lot of times they actually have low self-esteem. So that's the reason why they are trying so hard to impress, either by over complimenting themselves or maybe sometimes over complimenting you, which might not be very flattering sometimes if you feel that, okay, is this person really sincere? Okay, so before I share my advice on what we should do when we meet a narcissist on the first date, I would like to hear from you what you would do, okay? So imagine you meet this gentleman or this lady on the first date, and in the first 30 minutes of the date, he or she keep talking about themselves, okay? So what would you actually do? Okay, let me just put out a poll right now. Okay, let us know what you actually do. So you still have the whole main course and dessert to get through, okay? So that means you meet the person and then you guys are like just like having appetizer, and it's like, oh my goodness, this person just cannot stop talking about him or herself, and then you still have main course and dessert. So what would you do? Okay, so let's see. Okay, I think a lot of you guys are voting. Some of you have not voted yet. Okay, so I think just be honest. Don't worry so much about it. Just let us know straight up what do you think. Okay, more than 55% have voted, but I think this is very obvious the answer. Okay, so even though some of you are still taking time to vote, but I'll share with you the one that most people have said. Okay, so the highest is, I will pretend to listen and smile and just go through the date, but I won't see him or her again. And that is 62% of the room. Okay, so I think generally most people are very nice and polite. So that's only 10% who say that tell him or her straight to the point without any hard feeling. And actually only 3% say that I will find excuse to cut the conversation and leave the date ASAP. Okay, so I think very few people do that. So anyway, on this note, because the last couple of days I've actually been on a staycation with my husband and my kids, and then like we have been visiting different restaurants, and one of the things that we do sometimes, maybe it's because of the industry that we are in, we'll actually role play dates with our kids, and it's really funny. I mean, it's just part of like the dinner conversations, right? And then we'll just role play, okay, if you go on this date and then like this person say this, and what will you do? And the common joke is that my daughter will say that, oh, I have a stomach ache, I need to go now. So anyway, I can see that most of you guys are not like my daughter, who is 11 years old, find excuses to cut the conversation and leave the date ASAP. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to share with you like this is what we think, what you should do in such a situation. Okay, so first and foremost, if your date is hogging the conversation and keeps talking about themselves, you can suggest, like maybe finishing up the food, and doing something else. So for example, you can say, oh, like why not, let's finish up dinner or finish up lunch, and let's go do something else. So for example, like you might suggest that you go bowling, so if the person is really good in bowling, they can show off their skills without having to talk about it constantly. And then if they're not good at it, so they'll be fixated on fixing it, so that they can impress you, so they don't need to spend so much time hogging the conversation. Okay, so if your date is arrogant and try to establish their expertise over yours, so it's important you can set boundaries and stick to it. So what does that mean? So for example, if they keep insisting on ordering a bottle of red wine because it is a premium version, even though you say you don't drink, so you can notify them immediately before they order that you don't drink, right? So if they still go ahead, like then just leave the glass untouched, because at the end of the day, you already have let the person know that you don't drink, and if the person still insists, then you should still keep your boundaries. So it's very important to always make a stance. So and that will also let them know is that you're not going to just succumb to what they want you to do, right? And and you can also use humor. So for example, like you can say, oh, I feel like I already know your whole life story in 15 minutes. So maybe like they might kind of get the hint. Yes. So Angela is going to share with us on the third personality. So over to you, Angela.
Hi, yes. So when you meet Mr. or Miss Too Nice, I'm sure some of you may have met this type of people. So usually they are at a high risk of ending up in the friend zone. So usually they don't have much opinions. If you ask them what do they want to order on the menu, they will just ask you to choose. So people who are too nice may come across as boring or indecisive. So you may have to learn how to take the lead. Even for ladies, you will have to be a little bit more proactive during the date. So here are some advice what you can do. So you can give them some type of control. For example, if your date asks you to pick the restaurants for your first date, you can say, sure, I know a good place for dinner, but you are in charge of choosing where to go for dessert. If they offer to foot the bill for everything and you are not comfortable, so you can tell them, thanks for being so generous. I really appreciate it. Let me treat you to ice cream later. Or you can say, it's okay. What about you buy me the next round? Mr. or Miss Nice may also insist on sending you home, but you are not open to it. So instead of saying a strict no, you can suggest an alternative. For example, you can say, what about you can walk me to my car or the train station instead?
Yep. Thank you, Angela. So what do you guys think? Do some of you see yourself as maybe coming across as Mr. Too Nice or Miss Too Nice? Let us know in the chat. Yep. So is this something that you struggle with? You just not sure, like you don't want to come across as too risky. Okay, so we have Gordon who say yes. We have Billy who say I was Mr. Nice. Interesting. So maybe Billy, you want to say what is your new personality now since you say I was. Gordon say I am. Ishu say been there. Christina say yes I do. Janie say yes so me. Billy say I got a lot of Mr. Nice Guys cards. Kush say I think I am. Yep. So I think generally, like a lot of us, we tend to, I would say, be on the safe side. And I mean generally we are all nice people, like we are not like just trying to be nasty and things like that. But I think as what Angela have shared with us, that sometimes when we are too nice, we might come across as boring and indecisive. So we do not want to end up being friend zone like right on the first date as well. So it is important to learn to take the lead. So Jia In say I miss nice, I often get friend zone. Then say why Mr. and Miss Nice end up in friend zone. Sunny say definitely, that's why I remain single and unwanted. Oh no. Okay, so it seems like like we need to do like a topic on friend zone. Okay, so what do you guys think? Like if you think that will be helpful to you, maybe you can let us know in the chat right now, and maybe we can arrange for it soon. It seems that we have a lot of Mr. and Miss Nice in the room. Oh my goodness, and all the I agree, yes please, like yes please, sure, it's all coming in. Okay, maybe May you want to like just take this down as one of our potential topics soon. Yes, we have wow, like Xin Ying say yes please, sure. RO say yes please. Christian say sounds like a good idea. LM say yes, great to hear about how to avoid friend zoning. Why kids say yes, how should be too nice, how to be nice without being too nice. Okay, I think we definitely have a lot of demand here. I got it. Okay, so we'll move on to like the number 4 personality, which is the extreme introvert. Okay, so the extreme introvert usually, do not have much to say, doesn't ask many questions, and is very comfortable in silence. Okay, so usually, like I think most of us are not so comfortable with silence. Like whenever there's a silence, and then we keep thinking, okay, what am I going to say? What do I need to say to kind of break this silence? Okay, but maybe someone who is extreme introvert, maybe they are quite comfortable. Like they feel that they don't need to constantly be talking. They don't need to constantly be in a conversation. So you might think that they are quiet because they are bored or they dislike you, but that's definitely not the case. I say, sometimes they are just very comfortable, just like enjoying the peace and quiet. Okay, so if you are meeting an introvert, okay, so what you should do, okay, so introverts usually they don't see a need to talk about themselves all the time. So like totally opposite from the personality that I talked about just now, which is the narcissist. So they are actually quite happy to let someone else talk about themselves. They don't need to be in the center of attention. So you can actually get them talking by sharing an observation and then getting their input on it. So like for example, like, oh wow, this is a really nice restaurant. Like I really like the deco. What do you think? Like have you been here before? So just ask them about it, and from there, like when they feel that, oh, you're actually interested in their point of view, they'll be more open to sharing more. um Another thing, like for example, talk about all the latest trends, like something that is fun. So for example, an example we have for you guys is like maybe talking about TikTok. Okay, so like now, TikTok is the rage, everybody's watching TikTok videos. So, oh, are you into TikTok? Like, do you watch TikTok videos? I'm very new to it. I've just got started, not really sure how to get started. I'm just wondering why it's so popular. Like maybe if you have used it before, can you show me, like how does it work? Things like that. So again, engaging them and giving them an opportunity to showcase something that they know about to you. Or humor, which is something we always like to share. It's like make a joke to start a conversation. So for example, okay, so for some reason, you look like someone who might really be into belly dancing. Am I right? Okay, it's like so out of this world, right? But at the same time, like the person might be like, oh wow, like why do you say that, right? And that can create a light moment. So I hope some of these tips can help you when you're meeting someone who is really introverted. And Angela is now going to share with us the fifth profile, which is the interviewer.
That was quite funny, belly dancer. Okay, so the fifth type of personality would be the interviewer. So usually they ask like questions after questions without a break. So they may keep asking you like some personal things that you may not feel comfortable with. So usually the interviewer intention is just they try to talk to you or get the conversation going. Some of them, they may have a checklist in their mind. So by asking you questions, there may be a chance that they actually going through their checklist. So what you do if you meet the interviewer. So if you notice that there is a patterns of your day that asking you questions after questions, instead of letting them to do that to you, you can quickly pose another question to them. For example, if your date asks you, hey, how big is your family? Are you close with them? So you can answer. So by saying that example, I'm planning to take my mom for dim sum over the weekend at one of our favorite restaurants. Have you been to any good dim sum restaurants that you would recommend? So that they have to say something lah. Okay. So another example, if your dates keep asking you some questions that are too personal. For example, when was your last relationship? When was the reason you broke up? How much do you make? A very sensitive question. So you can jokingly say, there are things that even my parents don't know. And then just like laugh about it. Using humor again works for a lot of scenarios. So remember to have a mindset that like just being lighthearted during the days. Nothing has to be like very serious lah. Days are all about having fun, even when you are in a bad day situation.
Thank you, Angela. I love these are things that even my parents don't know. Haha, I like that. Okay, so maybe back to you guys again. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have met the interviewer on a date. So how would you usually handle the interviewer? Okay, so let us know. Or maybe now that you have heard some great tips from Angela, like how would you now handle the interviewer? Okay, let's see what do all of you guys think. Okay, yes, the answers are coming in. And then while you guys are answering, let me see what do you guys say about all the things just now. Yep. Christina saying nice guys finish last. Then a sad face. Yeah, so that's why we should, give more chance to nice guys. NP say nice guys shows up. She says he's too nice. Yeah, so I guess yes, that's kind of like what do you call it? The paradox sometimes. Okay, so looking back at the answers that you guys are answering for the interviewer, let's see. So overwhelmingly, okay, we have more than half of you, 54% of you say that I'll distract them by asking them their own questions back. Okay, that's a good one. So for example, the person say, what was the reason you broke up, when was your last relationship? Okay, so you keep like asking them back, oh, what about you? So maybe then they might get the hint. Okay, so I guess that's a good one. And then 28% of you guys say, since I don't feel comfortable, I'll give short answers. Yeah, that is also a good strategy, because they might get the hint, since you are like giving really short answers. And then 10% say reply sarcastically by saying, hey, you should save those questions for a second date. Okay, so there's 10%. And 8% of you say, I would love to tell them only the good side of me. Interesting. Okay, so let's see. Some of you say, Joseph say, okay, guess for the interviewer, the issue is about not wasting each other's time by going through a checklist of predetermined criteria. No room for spontaneity, as it will destroy their image of who their ideal mate should be. Yep, so I agree. I think, like people who are like interviewers, definitely they would have a checklist in mind, and they just feel that, okay, let's not waste time. I don't want to like waste my time going through the entire date and, at the end, like not knowing enough for me to make a decision. But I think, it can be very off-putting. So I always say it's like, it's a date, it's not an interview. And also I think, clients have also said to us that some days they have been on, they feel like they are being shot by a machine gun. It's like once they sit down, like it's like because all the questions keep coming up. I think that would actually not give a good impression of you. So at the end, even though the other person might be a very good fit, but because of your I would say personality that you have shown on the date as an interviewer, it might actually put the other person off, and at the end it kind of backfires. So something to think about, if your style it's like more like an interviewer. Okay, so the next one we have is number 6, the flirt. Okay, so the flirt is usually very smooth, like very good at sweet talking, and potentially could be very touchy as well, and sometimes also come across as a little bit cheeky. I think most flirts, like usually they mean no harm, but of course there are players who actually caught with the intention, of like really just getting into bed with you. So it's important to really differentiate between the two. So I think it's if it's harmless, like flirting to like create like attraction, right? Like maybe just playful, like teasing, non invasive touches, like just maybe touching your elbow, like your shoulder, your arm, so I think that's okay. And of course, if you're interested, you can also flirt back. However, if the flirting is very touchy-feely, and then you really feel uncomfortable, then definitely, like you might want to cut short the date, because again, like there are people who like might have I would say, not so good intentions. And definitely, again, it's important to put your boundaries, like if there's not something that you would like to continue with. Okay, so create distance between you and your date. So if you feel that the person is like constantly, like broaching your personal space, like just of course, like continue to keep creating distance. But if it's just getting out of hand, like I say, then you just might want to just cut the date short and move on. So similarly for men, if the woman leans too close and you're not comfortable, you obviously don't want to upset her by telling her to move back, but instead, what you can do is to move your seat slightly backwards, again, to create that distance between between you. And I think, in some of our previous webinars, I've talked about this as well. So if you're interested in the person and you are like you are shortening the distance between both of you, so you can just test it out. Either if you move forward and then the person like don't move backwards, then chances are they are okay to like get to know you better, like, or they might be even interested. But if you see that if you move forward and the person like then start to kind of create a bit of distance, then okay, maybe the person is still in the stage of like trying to get to know you better, and like still creating that distance between you and the person. Okay, and now we are talking about number 7. Wow, which is the alcoholic. Okay, this is an interesting one. So over to you, Angela.
Thank you, Violet. So the alcoholic, they will drink a little bit too much and too fast during a date. So some people drink because they are nervous. So if you find that they have been drinking past their limit and seem to be a little bit tipsy, this is what you can do. You can suggest going for a walk instead of ordering another round of drinks. So tell them that you have to wake up early next morning, also works, and that you have to end the day earlier. It's usually no fun taking care of a drunk person, to be honest, especially when you two just met. So don't feel bad to cut the day short if she or he looks intoxicated.
Yep, I think that's very, very good advice. And I think same thing as well, for us to think about it ourselves. So sometimes like some of us who drink, we might, like drink a bit too much because we are nervous. So again, like drinking too much on a first date is not a good idea. So I think for a lady, definitely, if you're not able to handle your alcohol well on the first date, it's like, that's not you just don't want to be put yourself in the kind of situation. And I think for a guy as well, so something to think about, like just limit your drink to like maybe just one drink, like, or if you can drink more, like maybe just 2 drinks and that's it. Like you don't want to end up saying things that you might regret, like the next day, and giving too much away. So something to definitely take note of. And now we have come to the 8th personality, which is the I'm not really looking for anything serious, which is the overwhelming, like the one that you guys say that you have met, you have come across, and it's really a profile that you do not like. Okay, so this profile, which is the I'm not looking for anything serious, usually, like they are very casual, they might look uninterested, and then, like, and they tell you things that they are just here because they are bored. And this is definitely the most frustrating type, because these are what we call time wasters. Okay, so before I share a bit more, I would like to hear from you guys. Okay, so do you know someone like this? Do you know someone like the I'm not really looking for anything serious personality? Okay, so yeah, I've just put out the poll. You can let us know, have you actually met someone like this? Do you know someone who's like this? And at the same time, you can tell us a bit more in the chat as well of the person that you have met who is kind of like this. Okay, so also, this is a quite a clear answer. Like half the room have voted so far, but I think from this we can see the indication, like a lot of you, more than half of you say yes, like someone who's like this, and then 30% of you guys say maybe, and 17% say no. Okay, so Dan brought up a good point. So Dan say, oh, maybe the person just doesn't want to appear desperate. Okay. Ishu says sometimes their intents are very blurry. And I think just now, like we also have some of our other participants who say that, oh, like at first I thought it was like that, but it turned out that actually the person, is just not interested in me. So, okay, interesting. So, okay, if you do meet this type of person on a date, right, even though it is very frustrating, but instead of storming off or scolding them and letting them ruin your day or your evening, you can actually throw them off by saying, that's cool, I wasn't expecting to get into a relationship after a first date anyways, so maybe your next date you can give him or her a heads up before they actually make the effort to meet you in person, and then smile. So it's important that whatever you do, don't try to convince them to date you, because that would make us kind of end up looking desperate or needy, or that we can change their mind. So it's definitely more worthwhile to spend your efforts on someone who is actually looking for the same thing as you. Okay, so I think definitely there are some people that maybe they are just I don't know, like dates junkie, you know, like they just keep going on dates after dates after dates after date. And but anyway, I think people who go on dates this way, you know, like just looking not interested, telling you that they are just here because they are bored. I totally agree that these people are time wasters, you know, like there's no point like really investing time with them, because you know, like, I think if they are not able to respect your time, then you know that doesn't really help. Aaron said, I think those joining LA is somewhat serious already. Yes, totally agree. Okay. So of course, you know, like people who join like lunch, actually, we have met them face to face. We have understand their profile, their personality, what they are looking for. And I think generally, if people who are with this, I'm not really looking for anything serious, kind of feel, you know, they wouldn't take the effort to actually join dating service. You know, there's a lot more things that they can go to, which is free, or maybe it's like they don't even need to pay. So I would say yes, you know, like people who join a dating service like lunch, actually they already indicated that they are more committed and they are looking for something more serious. I mean, not maybe immediately, you know, I don't think they're looking to get married like the next day, but they definitely, you know, like have something long term in mind. Yes, so I think that's a really good point that has been brought up. Okay, so the next thing we'll really like to do is we want to give you a bit more tips. Okay, so we have some practical tips that will help to make your first date remarkable, no matter you know what personality that you're meeting. Okay, and these tips will also help you to get on a second date. Okay, so who would like to hear these tips from Angela right now? Let me know in the chat. Okay, so see a lot of yes, me. Okay, so Angela, over to you to share some practical tips to make a first date remarkable and increase the chances of a second date.
Yes, no problem. So, from our single survey last year, so we sent out like, I think we interviewed over 2,000 singles lah. So, apart from physical appearance, we asked them what are the top things that would attract a person on the first date. So 59% of our singles found that a positive personality is the most attractive. So remember to stay positive on your first date. So talk about fun things. Everything should be lighthearted. Hobbies, interests, and your dream destination, holiday destination are perfect things to talk about. It also helps to leave an impression of you as a fun, positive partner. Also, find a chance to give a compliment to your date. Everyone nice to hear good things about themselves. So your date also most likely will be a little bit nervous as well. So giving them a compliment can be a good way to encourage them to open up, to share with you more about themselves, and also to drop hints to them that you may be interested. Example, a lot of people ask me like how to drop hint or give compliment. So you can say, I like your dress, or I like your shirt. You have good taste. Or you can just simply say you are very smart when they talk about their work or some knowledge. Okay. Another common question that I get is how to get a second date. So one of the advice is you can bring it up naturally. For example, if it is in your conversation, your date mentions a type of food he likes or she likes to eat, or a place. So you can say, I know a good place that has the kind of cake you are looking for. So let's go there next time. You can also invite him or her to an activity that you are already planning to do or to go. For example, you can say, I'm going to the National Gallery next weekend. So there is an interesting event going on. Come join me if you are free. It will be fun. So for men, you can be more direct and proactive. For ladies, it is recommend you can drop some hints.
Thank you, Angela. And I believe you also have some advice for our participants tonight on what they can do before they go on a first date.
Yes. So definitely when you go on a first date, make sure that you feel good about yourself. So put away all the negativity, even though you had a very tough day at work, and make sure that you smile when you walk in the restaurants. Have good eye contact and ask questions, be curious about your date. And also nowadays we are on our phone all the time lah. So but make sure that you keep your phone in your pocket or your bag. Try not to put your mobile phone on the table lah. Otherwise you may be accidentally looking at the incoming message and not paying full attention to your date. You can also, it is recommend to prepare some conversation topics or plan some stories before you go on your date in order to leave a deeper impression because sometimes we are also nervous when we go on date. When your date asks you something, we end up like saying nothing, which is not good. At the same time, practice active listening. So a lot of people we have seen when they go on date, they are very worried about like what to say next. And they actually forgot to listen what they are saying. So just empty your mind, listen to what your date has answered, and then continue the conversation from there.
Yeah, thanks, Angela. I think that's a very good point because sometimes like we always like kind of like we don't listen, like active listening, or we don't really listen. We are kind of listening to think of a response. And then, you know, as a result, we end up losing a lot of the things that the person is saying. So, you know, like the person is saying something and we already kind of assume what the person is saying next, even though the person is not saying that. So, you know, I don't know, that's called selective listening, or that's called, I don't know, like presumptuous listening. I don't know. But I think the point that Angela has brought up is very important because when we are really listening, we can also listen between the lines as well and really hear what the other person is saying. Okay, we have some comments from our audience here as well. So Muhammad Ridwan said, ladies, please don't drop hints. We can't read minds. Tell us, please. Okay, I think that's a very good point because I think a lot of times, you know, ladies, including myself, like, you know, we are guilty of this. We are kind of like, you know, like maybe this person will know what I'm trying to say, you know, like, and sometimes we think, you know, we have sixth sense, and then guys have sixth sense as well. But what I realize is like guys really don't have sixth sense. Like, you know, sometimes I just get very frustrated, you know, like the whole time, and then like I'm thinking like I'm get angry with my husband, and then I'll be thinking like, hey, how come he doesn't get it? And then I'll just be filming by myself. But he really doesn't get it. He doesn't even know about it. So, like, yes, I agree with you, Muhammad Ridwan. Yep. Okay. So we have some questions, you know, so I just want to like present some of these questions very quickly to Angela. Okay, so I think, Angela, this is a very good question from Christine. So because I think we do have some participants tonight, you know, like some viewers tonight are also like our members. So Christine asks, how to handle a first date who keep asking about my past relationship, past LA dates, and dig into all the details.
Okay, okay. I have heard this happen to some of our singles lah. So if that happens to you, you cannot ignore the question lah. Okay, you have to say something, but give a very general or generic answer. Keep your answer short and simple. Don't give too much details lah. So if your date asks you, hey, this is your how many days, how many people you met before this? Okay, the reason is okay, don't also get like angry at the person because the person asks because they just want to talk to you and they feel that like lunch actually is the actual real common ground that you and him may have lah. Okay, so if that happens to you, okay, let's say this is your third day lah. Okay, try not to give like details. Of course, you don't comment on any good things or any bad things about your past 2 dates. So you can make it more generic lah. For example, you can say, oh, I went on a couple days. If you went on like many days and you say, oh, I went on few days, nothing much happened, no chemistry. Okay, and then you can change the topic lah. Okay, example of like changing topic would be oh, like last day the restaurant I went, wow, the chicken are really nice okay. And then you talk about food lah.
Okay.
Like if the person like keep asking you actually can be you can politely say today is our date, let's talk about you and me. In the future, if you really want to find out, I can tell you more.
I like that. That's a good one. Honesty is the best policy. Okay, so we have a question here from Sunny. So Sunny say, how to keep a chat going after I got a potential match on a dating app? Most of my matches, if not all, remain silent even after I've texted her. What does this mean?
Okay, so when you send a lady's message and it becomes silence, no response.
Yeah, so I think yeah, so he say, you know, they got a match, you know, mutual match, and then he
Yeah.
starts sending them messages, but then a lot of times, you know, it just end up like with no response.
Okay. So my suggestion as a gentleman, you can actually try like 3 times over a period of time. So leave some time in between. So of course, like even though you done everything right, your day is good, everything is seems like going well. It happens lah. Not all the girls that you are going to message, they will reply you. But my suggestion is you can still try like 3 times. So let's say you send today, and then most important is you don't chase lah. You don't double test. You don't like question the lady. Hey, how come like did you see my message? How come you don't reply? Just leave it like that, and then you can come back like perhaps like 3 days, and then start a new conversation lah. Okay, and then the last try you can do it in a 1 week time.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, we have another one. This one quite specific. So, anonymous attendees say, how about dates who keep droning on about their experiences in the army? Guys, you know, so maybe you can let us know in the chat. Why do you all like to talk about your army days, you know, during first dates? So anyway, anonymous attendees say, it's hard for me to be interested in what he says, you know. So, Angela, what do you think? How can anonymous, you know, like attendee kind of like move on from this topic?
Okay lah. I have heard guys I do like to share their experience in their army days on dates. So it depends how much they share lah. If it is about like 5 minutes, personally I find it still okay. Of course you don't want to like ignore him. It is okay to just let him talk. If you are interested to get to know him, other things about him, my suggestion, you can give him a quick compliment. Okay, say like, oh, you did very well while you are in army days. And you can change the topic by asking, oh, so after that, so when you come out or when you are on the weekend, when you are allowed to come out, what do you usually do? Okay, and then you change the topic to maybe interest or things that like he likes to do.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So we have some interesting comments from our participants. Ishu say, dudes, please, it's 2020. Casey say, tell him to sign on as a regular lah. Okay, but anyway, I think like what Angela have said, I think complimenting him is a good idea. I think probably, you know, like he's you know, what he has achieved in his army probably is something that he's proud of. You know, it's really an accomplishment that he feel, you know, really strongly about, or maybe it's also something that he's passionate about. So I think maybe he's just trying to bring it up to just showcase some of his strengths. So I think like what Angela had mentioned, it's good to compliment him and then, you know, like just move on to another topic. Okay, I mean, we have many questions coming in. Okay, but I think there's one last question that I'll choose for Angela to answer. Yeah. So this question is from Has. Sometimes I feel like sharing my number, you know, but I don't know how. I'm a bit shy to give my number to the guy. So what do you think, Angela?
Okay lah. If you are going on non-chatterly days lah, most of the time, most guys would initiate to exchange numbers. But if they don't, what you can do lah, you can still initiate. Maybe you can try an indirect approach. Example lah, so you can say, hey, earlier you mentioned that place. I'm quite interested lah. Maybe you can send me some information about it. So let's exchange contact number.
Yeah, thank you, Angela. Okay, so thank you so much for all your questions tonight. You know, there are a lot more questions, but unfortunately, you know, in view of time, I'm only able to answer, you know, like the questions that we have shared so far.